And we're back with this review for Dark Knight Rises. This one had a lot of controversy surrounding its production, and even the thought of it had a lot of controversy because, for one thing, like Heath Ledger's death ultimately prevented him from being the villain again, or even a secondary villain similar to Scarecrow's role in The Dark Knight. And although Aaron Eckhart, who played Two-Face, he said he would like to play Two-Face again, but they said his character was dead. I'm sorry, that's a spoiler, I'm so sorry for that, but yeah, so he couldn't be in this one. During production, I remember I looked at the internet every day for news on this movie. Like, is Robin going to be in it? What villain are they using? Stuff like that. Is Christian Bale coming back? Because I remember, Batman Returns was a success for the old ones. For the third one, Michael Keaton says no. He doesn't want to do another one. Even though he was tempted because there's a different director and the tone was different. So for this one, I had a lot of questions, since this was the third of this film series. Well, eventually Nolan said he would direct again. This would be the last one, though, that he does anyway. And Christian Bale had already said, if Nolan's attached, then he's attached. So Christian Bale was in. Eventually, Gary Oldman and Morgan Freeman, they signed on again. Well, for the villain, they never said anything until they knew 100% sure. And eventually, they decided on... At first, they said Riddler was going to be the villain, due to the success of the Joker. Their top choice to play the Riddler was Johnny Depp. I actually thought that would have been pretty awesome, because whenever I see Johnny Depp with his glasses, I think he's the Riddler, And seeing him act as a villain with Christian Bale, that seems pretty awesome. But then I heard Leonardo DiCaprio was going to play Riddler. No. Then I heard Joseph Gordon-Levitt was going to have a role in it, possibly as Riddler or Black Mask. Eventually I found out Joseph Gordon-Levitt was playing Robin. And don't be alarmed, he's not some doofus in tights with the green panties and all that. No, he's actually pretty cool, Robin, in this one. He's a cop. You never even see him in the suit. Like, ever. He's a pretty cool Robin. He makes a good companion for Batman in this film. Well, the villain, they decided to use Bane. Now, Bane, I think, was a suitable choice for this movie because in the comic books, he breaks Batman's back and cripples him. And he's a very menacing character. He's kind of underrated as a villain. And he's this big, hulking monster of a human being. Well, for this film, they decided not to go that route and use Venom, like in the comic books, that gives him strength. Instead, he was in an accident, and the mask gives him, like, numbing gas that helps him because he's in chronic pain. So that's his story, and since it numbs him, he can't feel pain when it hits him, and he keeps himself in tip-top shape. Well, he comes to Gotham in his plan to destroy it, ultimately, with a nuclear bomb. People don't know why or how, and you don't find out until Batman's first confrontation with him. Like his true motives, Alfred makes suggestions about it. This one, Alfred has a significantly smaller role because he leaves Bruce, finally. He wants him to understand he's not Batman anymore, because the previous events of the last film, he's walking with a limp in this one, and he's, like, psychologically just bleeding. Psychologically, anyway. And he's a recluse as Bruce Wayne. Batman is just no more. Until, he comes back into action to save the city from Bane. Another good thing for this film is Anne Hathaway plays Catwoman. And I say that with a grin because, guys, y'all were in for a treat with this film. Oh, yeah. Anne Hathaway rocking tight leather outfit, all that stuff, and she worked out clearly for this role. Yeah, y'all are going to get a nice eye candy treat. Okay, I've said some good things about the looks. Her acting was well done in this film. I need to give her a lot more credit as an actress after seeing this film because she did great as Catwoman. Not as good as Michelle Pfeiffer, but better than Halle Berry. Even though Halle Berry was pretty darn hot as Catwoman. I'm sorry. The guy who plays Bane is Tom Hardy. I said that in one of my Hannibal videos. He does okay. He's... Comparing him with Joker, is kind of unfair, but he does pretty good in this film for his role anyway. Him and Joker are two completely different people. You know, you can't compare them and all that. Joker is one thing. Bane is a terrorist, a mercenary. You know, he ain't like Joker, who's just a crazy psycho. And I've given some of the plot already by saying Bane's a mercenary, but yeah. In comparison to The Dark Knight, this came close, but this doesn't match the level of Dark Knight at all. But don't get me wrong, a lot of people say it does and is better than The Dark Knight, but personally, I don't think it's any better. I mean, it's just too much of a follow-up to the first two. It does bring Batman Begins back into the light again. The best thing about this movie, though, is the ending. The ending will have people crying. Oh my gosh, it was sad. I'm not going to say what it is, but when they said this was the conclusion, they meant it. Even though there's a Justice League film coming out, there's rumors that Bale's going to appear in that. I don't know how that's going to work. I know Henry Cavill is going to play Superman for Man of Steel in it. With Ryan Reynolds apparently playing Green Lantern again, I don't think that's going to work out pretty well, because I hated Green Lantern. Well, I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it. Even though Man of Steel was good, I don't know. There's rumors that there's going to be a film based on Robin. I just don't know how that's going to go. Even though Nolan has said he's done with Batman, I just don't know. This does provide a definitive conclusion for the trilogy. And as a movie, it's not as good as Dark Knight, and it's slightly less... It's about in par with Batman Begins, and that's saying something because Batman Begins was good too. And for a third film, it's pretty darn good. I don't recommend this as much as the others, but it is a good film, and if you've watched the trilogy like loyally, like you really cared about, then yeah, watch this one. You'll have a nice treat. And it sends Batman off on a justifiable note. Not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, but justifiable. It's pretty good. It's a powerful movie. Like I said, not as good as The Dark Knight, but that's y'all's opinion because other people have said different. But to me, it's not as good, but it's still good. And I do recommend it. Definitely. Bye, folks.